It's your girl, VK Johannem, and the V stands for Vidian. As you've probably already learned, it's very important to pay attention to your psychic abilities when interacting with fellow practitioners. I had to learn that the hard way, and I learned it because of a man named Robert. Robert was a highly experienced generational Luciferian. That means his parents were Luciferians, they raised him to be a Luciferian, they had a whole coven. Guy was a very powerful practitioner. Robert was friends with this married couple I used to hang out with. The married couple was my neighbors, Whitney and Adam. One night, Whitney and Adam decided to introduce me to Robert. Had him over to their place and had me over to their place. Robert seemed cool enough, and Robert knew that I was Whitney's mentor. I don't do mentorship anymore, but at the time I was taking all comers. I wanted as many in-person apprentices as possible. Robert is a very mischievous man. He pretended to be a beginner when he introduced himself to me. He said, "Hey, I know you've been mentoring Whitney. Maybe you could help teach me witchcraft too." And I was like, gladly. I was none the wiser to the fact that this man had some shenanigans in mind. One day, Robert was hanging out with a girl named Kelly and Kelly's boyfriend. Kelly got the bright idea to play with the Ouija board, thought it might be fun. Little did she know that Robert had very bad intentions towards her. Robert said, "Yeah, sure, let's play with the Ouija board. I'm down, it could be fun." He discreetly fucked with the Ouija board and got Kelly very thoroughly possessed by a multitude of spirits. Kelly's boyfriend doesn't know what to do. Robert's pretending he doesn't know what to do. So Kelly's boyfriend takes her up to Whitney and Adam's apartment. Figured maybe they could help. Whitney, of course, calls me over. I walk in. Kelly's on the couch, very possessed. Her boyfriend's kind of like sitting next to her, catching her whenever she falls over, that sort of thing. Robert looked at me and said, "I don't know what happened. Do you know what to do?" I said, Yeah, I'll just do an exorcism. I've done these before. Just let me handle it. That wound up being the most difficult exorcism I had ever undertaken. It took me a whole hour to get those spirits out. It's almost as if something was, I don't know, fucking with my exorcism. Or trying to stop me. Oh well. Spirits get out, everything's peaceful. I go back to my apartment and hang out with my roommate. Then came the night of the party. That was the night when everything went to shit. After the party, everyone was at each other's throats. Whitney and Adam had a female friend named Rihanna. Rihanna was going through a tough time. Just gave birth to her kid. The baby daddy's in prison. She's feeling down in the dumps. She's been stressed out. Whitney decided she needed a night of fun. She planned an entire party at her apartment. Just to cheer Rihanna up. Everyone was invited. Kelly, Kelly's boyfriend, Robert. The party was held in two apartments. One was Whitney and Adam's apartment. You see, they have a kid, though. Very young kid. You can't be smoking no weed in their apartment. You could mess with the poor kid's lungs. You can drink as many shots as you want, by all means. But if you want to smoke weed, you have to go to the apartment that Shane and his roommates lived in. So I got to know Rihanna a bit. She was super fucking cool. Hung out with her, hung out with Whitney, hung out with Kelly. Robert was kind of a mess that night. He started drinking long before the party. Like, he showed up drunk and kept going. And he was getting real touchy-feely with Rihanna. Whitney comes up, shoves him across the balcony. She yells to me and tells me to beat his ass. Rihanna's in the corner, stressed out, like, he won't stop. I'm like, okay, I'll beat the guy's ass. Robert's a big guy. In most cases, it would have been very difficult for me to overpower him physically. But he was so drunk that it was easy as hell. So we get to a point where I'm sitting on top of him. I've got him grabbed by the wrist. He's going, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Trying to reach up and grab me by the throat and choke me. I remember seeing a bunch of scratches from his fingernails on my hands the next day. There was an obstacle to the ass whooping that I was supposed to deliver. That obstacle was named Joseph. Very big guy, experienced fighter. I already knew him. He was cool as shit. He's sitting over me to grab me if I start beating Robert's ass. I'm like, well, there's no way I can beat Robert's ass with Joseph trying to intervene. So I switch strategies. I look at Robert. I say, you're too drunk. He's like, I'm too drunk? I'm like, yes, you need to pass out. He's like, oh. He actually passed out. I've never seen some shit like that in my life. His roommates take him downstairs to sleep off the alcohol. We had a great time. I stayed the night there along with Rihanna and Kelly and her boyfriend. When we wake up, I drive Rihanna back home. I help clean up, all that. I go home, suspecting nothing. Remember how I said you had to go from apartment to apartment if you wanted to smoke weed? Remember how I was associating with Rihanna and Whitney a lot? Having a great time with them? If you were there, and you saw me from across the room, talking very confidently to a beautiful woman, making her laugh her ass off, and then walking out the door with her to go somewhere else, you might assume that I fucked her. This would be a problem, because Rihanna and Whitney were in relationships. Some people are swearing up and down that I fucked Rihanna. Others are swearing up and down that I fucked Whitney. The reality is, I didn't fuck either, or try to. I kissed a man twice. Also, Kelly's boyfriend tried to, touch my dick over the pants, as a little tease, a little flirtatious tease. He was so drunk that he fucking missed. That was just the start of my troubles. Robert's roommates hated me. And he'd passed out after an altercation with me. So they convinced him that I had, been smacking him around while he was unconscious. He didn't know any better. Robert created a Facebook group chat. Said, hey, I lost my amulet at the party. My necklace broke and the amulet's somewhere at the party. It was an amulet with a Catholic saint on it. Apparently it keeps you out of trouble. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the saint. Now, I had found the amulet. I took it home with me. I decided it was mine now. So we're in the group chat. I'm like, yeah, I didn't see it. I hope it didn't get thrown away when I was cleaning up. I said, okay, I don't really like saints, so I'm going to, fill this with the energy of alcohol. I'm sure I'll use it for something. To be clear, don't try to enchant saint talismans for satanic magic. That's retarded. But that's what I did. So, Robert and I have effectively been pitted against each other now. But Joseph thought this was bizarre. See, Joseph was the only one who knew that Robert was an extremely experienced practitioner. And he's like, man, why do Robert and VK hate each other so much? They're on the same wavelength, as he put it. Joseph is a smart man with phenomenal social skills. He says, hey, VK, want to hang out with me and my sister at my apartment? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, by the way, Robert's going to be there, if that's okay. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. He just got too drunk. It's cool. Joseph and his sister decided to leave on a beer run, strategically leaving Robert and I alone. They walked off. They left the window cracked just a bit, enough that they could hear us talking from outside. When they came back with more beer, they listened to the window. They heard Robert and I bonding like motherfuckers, having a really engaging conversation. They're like, it worked. Let's wait outside a bit longer so they can bond more. It was great, man. Robert channeled bail for me and everything. Eventually, Joseph and his sister went to sleep, leaving Robert and I alone in their apartment once again. Robert said, hey, by the way, I actually use alcohol. I harness the power of drunkenness in my spell work. I was like, what do you mean? I mean, I know alcohol can help you channel a bit. It helps you get out of your own way and let the spirits flow, but that's it. He's like, okay, well, now that we're out of beer, blow into this breathalyzer. Then I will too. We both blew into the breathalyzer and, compared our respective blood alcohol percentages. He said, now we're going to wait a while, and we're going to blow into it again. We do so. And it was a real breathalyzer. It was Joseph's breathalyzer. Joseph also had a breathalyzer in his car. That man had a problem. So we wait a while, blow into the breathalyzer again. My blood alcohol percentage had decreased, as it naturally does when you've stopped drinking for a bit. His was higher. We were out of beer. I know we were out of beer. It was Joseph's beer in Joseph's apartment. We were out of beer. There's no way he was stealthily consuming more beer that I didn't know we had. I had checked the fridge. It was empty. You can't stealthily consume beer in front of me while drunk. No way. He was supernaturally increasing the amount of alcohol in his blood. We waited a bit longer, blew into it, the breathalyzer again. My percentage was even lower. His was even higher. To this day, I don't know how the fuck he does that. We go home, we get some sleep. Next day, I get a message from Robert saying, hey, by the way, I know you have my amulet. Can I have it back? I was like, yeah, sure, of course. We're friends now. Fuck it. Pick up the amulet, and I realized that all the energy I'd put into it was gone. It was as if I'd never touched it. I returned it to him, and he gave me a short sword. Handmade, blessed by his coven in the name of Beelzebub. He told me you don't use this as a ritual sword. You never use it as a weapon. Something bad will happen if you do. You leave this on your altar, and it will empower your rituals. I'm like, huh. Well, here's your amulet. Thanks, man. Eventually I realized, being a mischievous little motherfucker, Robert had just handed me a puzzle to solve. Like, the short sword really was intended to, strengthen my rituals. But Robert basically locked the power inside, like, preventing it from doing anything. I finally noticed this. I'm like, you said Beelzebub, right? In the name of Beelzebub, I unlock this sword. The power starts flowing out. It empowers my spells to this day. When I say everything went to shit, Adam showed up to my apartment with a gun, unannounced. He thought I was fucking his wife. Never heard from Rihanna again either. That was the end of that friendship. My roommate talked my way out of that one. Soon enough, bro was accusing Robert of fucking his wife instead. Robert claims he fucked her. I don't know if it's true. I had to break up so many fights at that fucking party. Holy shit. Robert's moved away since then. We still talk once in a while. I should catch up with him soon. Anyways, that's all for now. Have a great night and enjoy your immortality. Check out the link tree in the description below if you want a little more VK in your life.